Today I'm going to talk about the law of attraction. The power to attract into your life abundance and good things for your relationships and wealth and health and this type of thing. But I'm going to tell you how it works and how sometimes people misunderstand this and how it can go wrong. This idea of the law of attraction is a phrase that was coined, I think it was in 1877, so it's a pretty old concept. People like the spiritualist type of medium woman called Madame Blavatsky talked about this and wrote about it. And ever since, there's been books coming out through the 1930s about positive thinking, about the ability to attract good fortune into your life, and more recently The Secret, of course, by Rhoda Byrne, wasn't it? Rhoda Byrne wrote that book. So all these ideas have been around us for a long time. In fact, I go back even further, because the Buddha, I think it was, said that upon what you focus your attention grows in strength. So this idea of the law of attraction is that however we focus our thoughts, it attracts to us those things. So if we think always about the problems in doing anything, like setting up a business or a start of a new relationship or moving house or anything, any sort of task that we have, particularly the big tasks, if we have the tendency always to take that pessimistic, or what if this goes wrong, what if that goes wrong, or looking for faults and looking for problems all the time, inevitably we almost jinx ourselves, don't we? We bring into our life the very things we're trying to avoid, you know? And it seems sometimes that, it's almost as if don't think about it. You know, it's as if we get into a state of thinking that we're gonna trip ourselves up. There's a story, I think in the East it is, that if you think of a green monkey while you take a medicine, then that medicine won't work, right? So you try not thinking of a green monkey. You're bound to. Next time you take some medicine, you'll probably think of a green monkey, you know. So we kind of can get ourselves into this very strange situation where we jinx ourselves psychologically. Now, obviously, if we do the converse of that and we think positively, we tend to be much more in an ability to make things work, and it feels like things are attracting to us. You know, if we look, instead of looking for problems, we look for solutions, we inevitably come up with a much smoother path, because we're not always shooting ourselves in the foot, as it were, by coming up with all the potential things that could go wrong. You know, I mean, you've probably come across people that are very negative like that. You know, you've got great ideas and you're really inspired, but oh no, it won't make money, or it's not good, it's going to cause this problem or that problem, you know. And next thing you know, particularly in places like the workplace, you know, ideas never get pushed forward. Particularly with committees, it never works, because all the negativity always dominates over one inspired person. So this is kind of on one level what the law of attraction is all about. We attract into our life the very things that we don't want and the very things we do want, depending on how we think about it, because psychologically we empower ourselves. But a lot of thinkers go further than that, because like I said at the beginning, you know, that upon what we focus our attention grows in strength. That's a very good line to follow through life, I think, with this type of thing, because the more we think about things, the more they are drawn into our life through events. Because if you think about the world out there, the world, it's all a construct in our mind, isn't it? Everything we're seeing is actually a picture that's in our head. And I'm of the understanding that everything that makes up existence is a combination of energy and consciousness. And therefore, if we put the focus on our consciousness, we find that our consciousness can indeed change events around us. Now, we're going off into the wacky new age thinking sort of idea, but these are actually very old age ideas. These are ideas that go right back to the Hermetic system, to the ideas of Hinduism again, and lots of magical thinking, that the power of thought, the power of belief, the power of will, for example, can draw into our lives the things that are more positive for us. So positive and negative experiences, so the thoughts go, attract positive and negative events around us. And and also when we, for example, if we do spiritual healing, in our psychic work, for example, at the end of a psychic circle, we'll often send out thoughts of healing to people that are in need. So, for example, I won't tell people to visualize. We'll usually make a visualization of some sort. We might put the people in a circle or something and send thoughts and light and images to them. But we don't send horrible thoughts. We always send positive things, don't we, for the healing to work. And I always say to people, don't focus on the person's illness. Don't think about the cancer or the lung condition or whatever they got, you know. Think positively. Think of them well. And the same with yourself. Always think of yourself well, you know. Don't always think of yourself ill. Think of the positive, because it builds the energy up in yourself. And so too, when we send out healing to people, we send and project positive thoughts as if the healing's been done, as if they are perfectly fit and well. And that's how healing gets its positive results. And it's the same way when we're hoping for things in our lives, that if we send out a positive thought like that and see it complete and see it as we hope it to be, then it comes into our life. It's a bit like when a footballer or a sportsman wants to achieve a goal. You know, if they're going to kick that football into the goal, they've got to visualize it and see it in their mind's eye before they can kick it into the goal. They can't think, I'm going to kick the goal just an extra two degrees this way or 1.5 degrees that way and allow for the wind and so on. So it don't work like that. It kind of is an intuitive thing where you have to kind of be at one with it, but you've got to see the goal before that goal can be achieved. So that is how positive thinking works. It works by that visualization power. And same with anything we do in life. We have to at first see it in our mind before it can ever be possible, before it can be something in the universe. Now, so some of the things that people have been doing recently, particularly with that book The Secret, is the idea that you infuse this whole thing with emotion. So when we think of something we want, we put the power of emotion behind it. Now that kind of also works in spiritual things, like in telepathy. We found that emotions will project better than just random thoughts or rational thoughts. The power of emotion. So for example, in telepathy experiments, if people are watching a screen of something with something happening horrible on it, the person at the receiving it will see that. But if they're just looking at a number on a random card, the person receiving it won't see it. You pick up the emotions. So obviously emotions are very much tied in with this idea of the power of thought, that it puts energy behind our emotions. So that does work up to a point. But there is also, I think, a lot with this where people are misusing a lot of scientific concepts. They're misusing a lot of psychology teachings, misusing a lot of the understanding of quantum theories, just to sell their particular idea. You know, there's a lot of money in these positive thinking books, and it worries me how sometimes these things go wrong. And I think there's a few fundamental flaws in this whole way of thinking. Now, I don't want to sort of pull the rug from underneath all your positive thinking, because positive thinking does work. It works on a psychological level, and I think it works up to an extent on a spiritual level. But in a moment, I want to talk to you in a bit more detail about some of the pitfalls with these ideas and how we can get over those things. If you're enjoying these mystic talks, you will enjoy my books, available now in paperback, on Kindle or on Audible. So as I say, these things kind of work up to a point as far as I understand it. Now, to do these techniques of attracting abundance and so forth into your life, the idea is that you simply imagine it. You have a massive, perfect visualization. You see it, you feel it as if it's almost happened. You fill it with energy and enthusiasm and emotion, and then the universe will see this somehow and just bring it all to you. First fault, it makes us lazy. it appeals to a lot of people because it's the lazy man's way to success. And they say, oh yes, well, we all struggle too hard in life and we mustn't do that. We just merely have to look onto the abundance of the universe and it will bring it to us. No, it don't work like that. It don't. Try it. It don't work. Because if we take a lazy attitude to life, things cannot come to us. Things can come to us more easily, maybe, but things don't come to the lazy person. The lazy person will always be the lazy person. The universe does not work like that. It does not work like that. So the first thing I think the fault with these ideas is that we need to be actually engaged in the world. It's very, very positive to have these visualizations of how things can come to us, and I believe that if we can have a vision of what's going to happen to us in a good positive way, it will eventually come about. Without a doubt, it will come about. But we must also put work in. We must put energy into it. It's no good just setting up this concept and this vision in your mind and then doing nothing more about it. You do have to put the energy of thought into it as well. You have to feed it with energy, and that means work. You have to work upon it. Even if that work is an illusion and merely an affirmation, the work is still a powerful force. But the thing that worries me is these things like the Celestine Prophecy and the things like all these other books about positive thinking and so forth. It all seems to be so easy. We just have to think like this and it all comes to us, man. You know, it just comes from out there. You know, the universe gives us abundance. And then we get sick and we get ill or something goes wrong or we lose our money and we find a car crash or something terrible happens in your life and then, oh, what happened, man? You know, it's too woolly, the thinking. You've got to also put the power of your work behind it, because the gifts of spirit, and what this is talking about in some ways, the gifts of spirit come with hard work and effort. So we need to include that. And I also think the idea of engaging the emotions is also kind of useful, because it can also help to build the vision in your mind about what you want. Because I'm not saying don't build a vision of what you want in your mind. Do that, because it will help to bring the energy to what you want. But I'm just saying there's a few problems. Also, because I think when you engage the emotions, it kind of makes it more convincing to you, you know? So it sells more books, basically, for the author that puts that idea forward, you know, because we all love to engage our emotions and it makes it feel like it's really going to happen, you know? And you start to get a delusionary idea that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But you have to do it, I think, personally, without emotion. You've just got to know it will be. You know it will be. It will be. You're not convincing yourself. Because if you're constantly saying to yourself, in every way, in every day, things were getting better. That's one they used to do. Every day, in every way, things are getting better. Every day, in every way, things are getting better. That was one they used to chant all the time. Actually, what you're doing is, every time you're saying that, you're almost telling yourself that it won't. Because it's like things are bad already. You know, things are bad and they're still bad, so I have to keep saying this. So I'm reinforcing the badness as well as this positive message. You see what I mean? So in a way, you've got to almost just accept it that it will be. It is a fact of the universe that the universe is here for our benefit. It is here to make us become awakened. It is the path to enlightenment that we're after. So one of the other obstacles that I feel with this is that all these things that this system promises is all about material things. It's all about happy relationships. It's all about abundance of money. It's all about success and all the rest of it. But the universe is not geared up for those things. Those are the superficial things. The universe is here to make us awaken. The universe is here because it's all consciousness. It all plays on this idea that it's all consciousness, therefore we can influence consciousness to bring the things to us. But it's all consciousness because consciousness is wanting to awaken through you. It's the awakening of the universe. So all these material things are a complete waste of the time and your energy of what you're trying to do. Do you see what I mean? I'm saying here that, you know, it's not the goal of the universe to give you abundance, to give you wealth, to give you happiness in relationships. Those things come as secondary things. They all come if one seeks the path of awakening, and keep your focus completely on that, and don't get distracted by these superficial material goals that these books peddle. And there's another factor involved with all this too that they conveniently seem to ignore from what I've seen. Karma. All of us have karma. We bring karma into this life, both positive and negative. Now, as you know, I've done a lot of work in India, and I've done a lot of work with the Nadi oracles, which told me how to reduce the effects of negative karma in my life. And I did the various things, and you saw it on Mystic Journey to India, my movie, and in my book Mystic Journey to India. But I did all these various things to help clear the karma, and I felt the power of that happening. Right, so we have karma that we brought into this world, and no amount of positive thinking is going to clear that karma, because a certain amount of karma coming into the world is naturally going to unfold in your life. Something needs to be done about that. Similarly, you're creating karma now. So this idea of focusing on positive things is actually creating positive karma. So it's a good thing. It's going to make the future better. But we've still got the karma we're carrying with us from the past. And then there will be karma in the future, which is going to be the unfolding of what the karma you're doing now and other karma from previous lives. Otherwise, why do good people come up against bad things? If a good, perfect person just thought good things all the time, why should negative things happen to them at all? It happens because something's followed us into this life. So we have to clear the negative effects of karma as well as this positive thinking. And the positive thinking, as I said, should be focused on awakening, ultimately. If you do the divine work, then all the rest will come to you anyway. Didn't somebody say to you, seek first the kingdom of heaven and all other things will be added unto you? You know, that's how it happens. You seek the spiritual awakening first. You seek the enlightenment first, and the rest all comes naturally. But you can also clear this karma, and it can be done on a number of ways. Now, in essence, of all the things I learnt from doing all these rituals in India and the rest of it to clear my karma, there are a number of things that can clear the path for you with your karma. The first is charitable work. So you can do all this positive thinking you want and all this visualization you want, but if you don't do a bit of charitable work and giving, you won't get far. If you're just thinking about abundance for me, it's not going to work. You must also include abundance for others, and you must give unto others, and then it comes to you. Easy, isn't it? You know that. The other thing is, they say to plant trees. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but that's one of the things that's given often as a remedy to break the negative karma. And if you think about it, if you plant a tree, somebody else is going to get the benefit of that tree, not you. So in a way, both symbolically and actually, planting a tree is a very positive karmic statement. It's a very selfless thing to do because others will benefit, not you. So again, that's one of the remedies that is given to break the karma. And the other one they give is to build temples. Again, it's something to help establish the power of the divinity in this world on a stronger basis. So build temples, build churches. It doesn't matter, whatever your religious background is, or mosques, you know, put money towards those things that are part of the spiritual remit for others that can help things to be here for a permanent time. So those are the main three actions you can do. But also the actions upon yourself is to do spiritual work upon yourself. This is things such as meditation. It might involve things like pranayama and yoga. It might involve doing things that are done with worship to help people. It might be knowledge and the development of knowledge as well, because all this is part of your spiritual work. If you do the spiritual work, you grow. You do not have to have the lessons of life to push you back on that spiritual path. So that brings abundance more than anything. It brings you onto the path of awakening. And if you follow the path of awakening, then all things will come to you. And finally, the final one that I would add is mantras. They also have a magical power to change the course of our future. That's probably a whole new different subject. But in the systems that people use, they use affirmations, really, which is very similar to the idea of a mantra, that you repeat and repeat and repeat to break the negativity and increase the positivity. But no better mantras are those than the ancient mantras from previous ages. So that's where I feel things kind of go wrong a bit with this whole idea of we can sort of bring to ourselves and attract things just simply like that. We have to put work in, we have to make sure that our focus on what we want is correct, and we have to also do some work for others and make it a charitable action. And rather than this selfish, shallow materialism that comes from this idea of a law of attraction. What is it you're trying to attract? If you're just trying to attract material wealth, you're pulling yourself down. If you're just trying to attract into your life happy relationships, you undermine the power of your own self-sufficiency. If you're whatever you're thinking to attract, think about what it is you're trying to attract and why. What you should be trying to attract is awakening. The awakening, so that you can be a conduit to help other people at the same time. Okay, I've had my rant. Okay, thank you for listening. But I hope that gives you some food for thought. And don't forget to put some comments below. In a moment, I'm going to put up another clip from the past of some of our work that we've done on TV, because I like to add these each time to these mystic talks. And don't forget, if you enjoy this channel, do please follow it. Do click the little bell at the bottom of the page, because that will give you regular updates. And if you want to help us with the work we're doing, both here and some of those charitable things I talked about, we also try to do that on a bigger scale. And as well as get this channel going to the point that it becomes a real spiritual centre, a real life centre eventually, become a patron of the website. Because if you become a patron at patron.com stroke Hamilton Parker, you can give a little bit each month to help us to move this whole idea forward. And is there a dog on the spirit called Bob? Because our short name, I want to become Bob with the name of a dog.
Not that I know of.
Okay, I'm on the next link. So I'm going to move on now, and thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we've got a dog on the spirit wheel going through. Now, the message is woof, woof, woof. Can anybody take that? I've heard the name Bob, and I've also got dog, so I don't know who's called their dog Bob. Right. Fairly common. There might be more than one with this. It's yeah. I've got to give you some proof, though. I can't just sort of say that's it. Firstly, I would say, as I linked to you, that there is a very strong connection with you, with your animal friends particularly. There seems strong feelings with the animals. That's why I feel it's as if the dog runs. I get this picture of the spirit world coming to us and the dog running forward first.
Right. Yeah.
Bob, as it were, was a bit of a scruffy-looking dog. I want to say, real mess. I'm not very good with them. We used to have a Jack Russell, and I get a feeling he's a little bit. We had a Jack Russell cross with a dachshund, and I've got a feeling he's a. Can imagine?
Yeah.
He's a bit like that, run to the runts. That's how you would understand him, though, wouldn't it? But very lovable.
Yes.
Now. Standing by him, there's a gentleman that would connect with that dog particularly, because he was very, very close with him.
Yes.
Now, he's a bit quieter in his manner, I've got to say. But he'd have a good sense of humour, but he's one that would lay a joke on you, as it were.
That's right.
Rather than be loud and brash about it, isn't he?
That's correct.
He had a lot of trouble in his life with his teeth. Because he had his teeth out eventually, but they were one at a time. It's like he had to have every tooth in his head filled before they finally took them all out. And he said, "Oh, what a lot of trouble I went through with that." Did the dog also have its teeth done, filled?
I wouldn't know about that. I would have to ask.
Oh, it's a shame you can't confirm it, because I just feel him joking about it.
There was a joke about his teeth.
It was a joke. There was lots of jokes about the teeth.
Lots of jokes.
And there was a lady that had false teeth. Now, I think I want to put the name Mary with that.
Oh, yes.
Now, Mary had the false teeth, but she used to put them on the mantelpiece. And Mary used the false teeth to cut the cake with. I would
have to ask.
She was a right card, Mary, wasn't she?
Yes, you have. I'd have to ask about that.
If she
But
didn't
it's
do
a
it in
type of
reality,
trick.
it's the sort of joke she did.
It's a type of trick the man would do.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. The two of them are quite humorous.
Possibly.
Yeah, but they're having real fun here.
Yeah.
They love Christmas time. But
Oh,
there was
yes.
Also, I think there was a passing they're talking about that came just after Christmas. They got
Yeah.
through the Christmas, and then there was the passing. So, but always remember
yeah.
the happy memories
Oh,
of
yeah.
Christmas. And he says it's glad the passing didn't happen until just after Christmas, because Christmas has been in the family a very important time. Now, Christmas is everybody's important for Christmas, but he said that it was a time we used to bring the whole family together because we were scattered very much. There was people in Ireland, I've got to say.
Yeah.
There was somebody that went to Ireland. There was somebody went to Scotland. Who was Nelson?
Nelson I can take regarding sea
Right.
connections.
Yeah, he's got one patch on his eye and he put flags on his ship.
Ah,
Oh, was
now,
that the
yeah.
other one?
I can take
you can
that.
understand
Yes,
the Nelson
I can.
because he's just saying we
yeah,
got Nelson
he's having
here
a
too.
joke
Right.
there.
And yeah, I can, because in a
Yes,
very
definitely.
humorous mood, I can probably
Yeah.
be telling you all sorts of crazy stuff. As long as it makes sense to you as
It
ever.
does.
Right.
It does.
So he's just talking, he said, where was I? I'm going to tell you about where the people are in the world, because he put me to Ireland.
Oh yeah.
He said, well, Nelson, right? And now, I don't know whether you're just leading me along the path a bit more here, but would you also understand the name Wellington?
Yes. Yes.
You haven't got raw connections over
Well. Apparently, one of my. Well, I'm not going to tell you. You've got to
I'll
tell
find
me,
out. Tell us afterwards.
or else Anne will smack my hand.
Okay. But I just said something. He's having a joke. We've got the
Yeah.
Nelson connection. We've got the Wellington connection. I think
Lovely.
he's just here to embarrass me. You know, we'll have the Queen of Sheba next. But he's great fun.
Yeah.
I've got to say.
Oh, yes.
I've got great fun with him, and he just really wants to come through, really just to share his happiness with you, because life can be tough. He says. And we all know it's tough, but he said it's been a bit tough of late.
It has,
There's been
yeah.
some tough times, not just for you, but for many people that are very close to you with a great deal of love for, and they've suffered too, and you've felt helpless sometimes because of the suffering of others. But he says we look down upon it, and he says when we look at the bigger picture, when we see the whole picture completely, we realise that at the end of the day, it's only a small blip. That the bigger picture is one of great happiness and love. And all those little things that he's been telling you about Nelson and Wellington and the rest of it, is really there just to... He shares your tears in a way, but they're not
Yes.
tears of sadness.
No, the
They're
tears of joy.
of happiness,
Yes.
aren't they?
Yes,
And
tears
I
of joy.
feel he wants just to let you know that, you know, they share every pain with you and they share every happiness, but when they see the big picture, it's one of joy.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to know who that Nelson and Wellington are. And that wasn't from Bob the dog either.
No, that was from Bob the man. Bob the man.
Right. My wife Jane and I do our public work for free. We raise money through the theatres to raise money for our Hamilton Parker Foundation. This is a not-for-profit company that is soon to be registered as a charity. Now, our work is going in to help with the objectives of this charity, but you can help us as well by becoming what we call a patron of this channel. Now, as a patron, you'll get, first of all sorts of really interesting benefits. You'll have a sort of behind the scenes look at what goes on with our work. You'll get videos before other people. You'll get new videos. You'll get all sorts of benefits that are explained in the patron website, and it has various tiers that you can subscribe to. So you can subscribe to just a little bit and get a few benefits, or you can subscribe a lot and get a lot of benefits. And what this means is that we can raise some money through this channel. Now, this money's not going to me and Jane to give us a fancy lifestyle. This money is going into our foundation that has some fantastic objectives. Now, the first thing we want to do with the foundation is, first of all, get a cyber centre together, a cyber temple, as it were, a place where we can introduce new people to you through this channel. So by supporting this channel and giving something to the as a patron, you will find that this channel will start to get better and better content with more and more interesting things going on. We'll be able to get the cameras, we'll be able to have the space, we'll be able to have the right setting where we can build the energy to do things such as mediumistic circles and so forth online. But also our work extends further than that, because we are hoping ultimately to build a spiritual centre, a psychic ashram as it were, where people like you can come to visit and take part in an interactive way through this channel as well. But also we are doing a lot of what we call spiritual service. We are going out and giving a large part of the income we generate to people in India who are destitute. We've given to schools, we've fed children that are in need, we've helped mentally handicapped people, we've given cows to old people in India. Some of all this you'd have seen in my movie Mystic Journey to India on Amazon. But all of this is part of our mission, part of our remit to help the world. Because we're not only trying to find our divine nature, we're also trying to live what we learn and express it in ways that are really beneficial to the world. So if you follow this channel, but more importantly, if you become a patron of this channel, you can help us to take this whole mission onto a much higher level than any psychic work has ever been done before.